Birmingham for sure.
Excited about them, Connor?
I am. Yeah, they've got it right on and off the pitch, which is unequivocally important if you want to get back-to-back promotions, I think. So that with Ipswich, excellent off the pitch as well. But Kyogo coming in, we've mentioned it before, but rising up to 10 million quid, Celtic never should have got rid of him. And the improvements, the Japanese connection as well, which we've spoken about, I've said as well, if they kind of keep doing this, similar to that of Celtic, there's clearly a success rate there. But that's long-term. Short-term right now, they've got it absolutely spot on. I like Chris Davis. We spoke about his tactical fluidity as a manager. I think he can vary from system to system. 111 points, really impressive. Kept hold of Stansfield, kept hold of Iwata as well, and just developed, when you look at the back line as well, bringing in Neumann, looks really strong, German defender. I like it. I like what Birmingham are doing, and it's just the tweaks overall which are going to put them at the top of the or one of the teams at the top of the Championship, in my opinion.
Absolutely, Dave. We talked about momentum coming up from League One. I mean, they've got absolutely everything, haven't they?
Yeah, I think it will buck the trend. Looking over the last 5 seasons in terms of teams getting promoted, so 4 have been immediately relegated, 2 have finished in the playoffs or higher. That's Sunderland and Ipswich, and 1 team, Ipswich Town, have gone back to back. I think there's going to be another team that's going to go back to back in Birmingham. We can see them definitely competing at the top of the league, whether it's automatic or whether it's through the playoffs. And the management of Chris Davis and his fluidity and how they play, they are more a Premier League side than a team that you traditionally see in the lower leagues, long ball football. They play out from the back. Kyogo is a great bit of business. I think that's really good. And it's a lot of money. Let's not forget, it's a lot of cash that they've spent on him. And they've a lot of cash that they spent on Jay Stansfield last season. But there's 2 forwards there that could easily hit 20 plus goals apiece.
Can you see them working together? Is that an issue?
I think they'll work very well together. I think Jay Stansfield's a player that's very good at stretching teams, good at running in behind. He's got the pace and the finishing. And then Kyogo's more of a pocket player or a smarter forward in the final third, but can also finish. But he could flip the tempo a little bit if it's slow out the back with Birmingham City building, and then they get into the final third. He's someone that can like that kind of spark. So I like the signings. Damari Gray as well. That is a very, very good player for this level who could be another dynamic element of their forward line. There's just so much to like about it, and obviously the investment that's gone in we're seeing that this season. Really, this isn't a project that started a year ago. Really, they've been spending money for a few years now, and this is where they're at. And I fully think they'll get into the playoffs and even win the playoffs.
You've effectively as well got 2 Premier League proven players, if you want to put it there as well, in Tommy Doyle and Damari Gray.
Yeah,
it's very impressive window so far.
Absolutely, talking of big spending as well. Wrexham still with some business to do, probably at the time of speaking, time of recording. Phil Parkinson in charge there, Ben, at the moment. A manager who's got 3 promotions in a row, let's not forget, but maybe still feels like he has something to prove at this level. But again, we're probably expecting Wrexham to go quite well.
Yeah, it's the only non-Hollywood thing about Wrexham, isn't it? The manager, bless good old Phil, who's been around for years and years and years, hasn't he? And we were just speaking in between these segments of, would it have been different if they'd gone for some, I don't know, fashionable type manager? Sorry, Phil, but it's, you're viewed the other way. And maybe he's the stability they've needed whilst, moving up the leagues. It feels like they're kind of peaking into the transfer window. You remember when the transfer window started, it was Swansea did loads of business, and then Norwich, and then Birmingham just took all the headlines, and now it feels like Wrexham are really flexing their wallet muscles, if that's the thing, and we've still got a long way to go. It just depends, like you say, on Parkinson. Are they recruiting now to play this kind of more, as you say, Dave, about Premier League football versus EFL football? Can you do that? I would say Warnock's Cardiff in the same year as Wolves were kind of the last pragmatic team. Wolves were pragmatic with Ruben Neves, Willy Bolly and Diogo Jota, weren't they? So, yeah, exactly. So Cardiff are probably the last team to actually do it in a kind of pragmatic way, head it, kick it, Warnock, etc., etc. So it's going to be fascinating to see how the style and the signings all mesh up.
Kiefer Moore and Nathan Broadhead, potential new arrivals at Wrexham as well. Do we actually think they're playoff contenders, promotion contenders for you, Connor, or not quite that high yet?
No, not quite. Maybe mid-table. We'll go to Dave toward the end on that one. But I think Broadhead will be a really decent signing, in my opinion. He can chip in with a fair few goals, maybe off that left or even potentially centrally as well. I think Windass coming in 12 goals last season for Sheffield Wednesday will be big as well. Hardy, obviously formerly of Plymouth, I think he'll do okay as well. But
Lewis O'Brien as well.
Lewis O'Brien at the base, so they've really addressed the spine as well. Danny Ward, another one coming in. So yeah, I think they've made good additions so far. It is just the unknown, and I am kind of probably one of the ones, I know Ben's maybe a little bit more lenient on him, but I'm kind of looking at Phil Parkinson and wondering if he can fit the test of a league which is going to be so much better this season, and the patience has got to be there with the owners. I think so there's going to be a lot of managers maybe in the circuit who they can pick up who have got maybe a glossier pedigree than that of Phil Parkinson.
I think there's also the shadow of Danny Roll now looming behind any Championship club potentially thinking about pulling the trigger. I think we might get an early sacking because of that very reason. Dave, you don't have anything strong.
No, nothing. I just think
Wrexham?
for the story, for the theatre, the plot, them going down would be fantastic for football. But it'd also be great for the series in a sense of, they've gone all this way, they've done really well. Now let's see when it gets really, really tough and how they react to that. On the top of that, they're back in League One. We've got the Phoenix story as well, redemption arc. It would be great to see.
So you're looking forward now a few years.
I am. Look, I'm trying to write the script, here, and I think for the script we need it to be less.
They want that League One points record, don't they?
Yeah, that's what they want. They need to go back down and do that. But I think realistically, if Phil Parkinson were to leave and Danny Rolls come in, that is enough to stay in the league. I think there's teams that are a lot worse than them in terms of Oxford United. I would just love to see them relegated.
Is that a realistic possibility for them, for you this season?
Wrexham, no. I think there could be a bad start. But I think, like you're saying, the managerial change will happen at some point. I think we all agree with that. If it starts poorly, I don't think they're going to mess around with seeing whether it works out, seeing whether it's kind of a good thing. Almost like Daniel Farke in the Premier League. That's something that potentially should have happened before the season starts, that you change your manager and then you can build. And how many managers did we have in the Championship this season that were there last season?
John Messina, the only one.
Incredible low record there. So this is a big one, but just for the plot, Wrexham to be relegated.
Excellent stuff, brilliant stuff. That's all we needed. Charlton again. I'll come back to you, Dave, actually, because you're positive on Charlton.
Yeah, I think they've recruited really well. They've spent the sixth most amount of cash in the Championship. I think you're looking at Charlie Kelman from, signed from QPR, scored 23 goals in League One last season. Looks like a good forward. Got that classic English style. Moves well in the box. But also Rob Apter, signed from Blackpool. Good tricky forward, left footed, can go either way. 8 goals and 3 assists. I think there's players there that I like. And with a manager like Nathan Jones, who's done it in the league before, made a team super competitive to a point of getting a job in the Premier League, I quite like what they've done. I'd put them ahead of Wrexham in terms of league finish.
Incredible stuff. I hope to see that. I don't know what to say then. I was like, incredible. Wow. I hope to see it. Wow. They've got good experience. Matty Godden up front as well, Connor. But I'm really excited to see Nathan Jones on a Championship touchline again after his playoff praying at the end.
Yeah. Cameras look at me and all that. But no, I like Nathan Jones. I think tactically pragmatic as well. He's done it, League One before. I mentioned previously that he came up with Luton mid-table, did a really good job. I believe in maybe him a little bit more than Phil Parkinson. I know the expectations may be a little bit different, but I've mentioned previously in another video that I think there'll be the surprise package this year. I've got a lot of confidence. Amari Bell coming in, Reece Burke coming in as well. I think if they are in a low block, I think they can hit teams on that transition really well. Home form's going to be key for them, as we saw with Portsmouth last year as well. So yeah, but confident in Charlton.
It's also players that Nathan Jones has worked with previously, right? At Luton, and that's something that really helps in football instantly come in. It was almost a very streak at Luton, right? Like where they were like mix, draws here, draws there, and then they just go on and run. And that's what Nathan Jones could do with this Charlton side, where they could be pushing for the playoffs at the back end of the season.
Was Kaminsky another one as well?
So Kaminsky, for me, is a no. Kaminsky's a no. Worst record in the Championship last season in terms of goalkeepers for expected goals prevented. So he needs to flip his statistics.
Okay, yeah. Okay,
Ben,
there we go.
30 seconds on Charlton, you can round this off.
I'm not as hot on them as these two guys are, but I think with Jones in the dugout, I think they'll be okay. So I'm kind of Birmingham, Wrexham, Charlton, but it's going to be fascinating if we're plopping them all in above, say, your lovely 14th spot.
3 have got to go down, so it'll be interesting to see who that is. Give us your predicted positions for Birmingham, Wrexham and Charlton in the comments down below. Birmingham potential league winners. I want to hear from you down in the comments down below. Like and subscribe while you're down there, and stick around for more Championship content on the channel.